Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking about studying abroad again. I wanted to make a video talking to you a little bit about my experience since I've been abroad. This is probably going to be filmed in a couple different places over a couple days because I'm traveling, one of the many perks of studying abroad. But I know that you guys might have some hesitations about studying abroad, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my experience here so far. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is making friends. I feel like a common fear is not making friends because it's a new place, everyone's from different countries, you don't know anybody. I would say that that's not true. I did not have a hard time making friends at all. Everyone is also coming from different countries and doesn't know people usually. Everyone I've met has been pretty friendly. I would say go to the events that your university does, especially in the beginning. There might be some sort of orientation week or activities during the first couple of weeks. Go to those and meet people there. After that, it'll be easier to explore the city and do other stuff outside of your university if you've already met some people. I would say be welcoming, be social, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Everyone's from different cultures and different backgrounds, but at the end of the day, we're all people and most people are looking to make friends. Outside of your university, depending on how big of a city you live in, there's also community events. There's websites such as Meetup and Eventbrite that you can usually find stuff on. Also, I've had good success with Bumble BFF. It's not a dating app, it's specifically for making friends. Obviously use your common sense on the internet, but I have had good luck with meeting people online and it turning into real friendships. Okay, the next one is going to be culture shock. So if you haven't heard this term before, culture shock is basically feelings of anxiety or discomfort or disorientation at living in a place where the culture is completely different from your own. So I really didn't expect to get culture shock. I've traveled before, I've traveled outside of the US, and so I was like, I'll be good. No, you probably most likely will have culture shock, at least to a small extent. For me, it was more like just missing home comforts, like the ease of going to a grocery store and like knowing where my favorite products were, or being able to go up to somebody and start a conversation in my own language. Living in Belgium, everybody speaks French, and so there's that extra level of like trying to figure out how to start a conversation in French, or having to ask the person if they speak English because I don't speak French very well. And so that was a bit difficult in the beginning for sure. I guess my advice is just like, it's normal. I would say just be patient with yourself. You're probably not going to feel at home in a foreign country on day one. I would say give it a couple of weeks. Honestly, it may even take a couple of months before you really start settling in to new routines and life abroad, and that is perfectly okay. Another thing is homesickness. I think people talk about this a little bit, but I'm just here to tell you, like, it's completely normal to be homesick. You probably will be homesick at some point. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying this to tell you that if you feel homesick and if you want to go home and you're like, but I really wanted to do this, why am I getting homesick? It is completely normal. It also might not happen at the times you think. I think for me, I'm at about 6 months in to being abroad, and I'm probably the most homesick now than I was right after, because in the beginning there's all this new stuff, you're making new friends, you're meeting new people. Once you start like settling into routine, then sometimes it can make you more homesick. But it comes and goes. Some days will be better than others, some days will be worse, and I would say try to have a good support system of friends and family that you can talk to, either from home or new friends that you make in your city. And just know that you're not alone and that everybody experiences homesickness at some point. The next thing is travel. This was arguably the most important thing for me when I was picking where I wanted to study abroad. I picked Brussels because it's a really central location in Western Europe. We have an international airport, and there's also trains and buses going to pretty much anywhere you can think of. I would say travel, at least in Europe, is a lot easier than it is in the US. It only takes a couple hours to get to like 4 or 5 different countries from Belgium, which I think is super cool. Also, traveling within countries is pretty easy. There's this thing called the Schengen Zone. So that's basically an agreement with like, I think it's like 30 European countries. And you can travel between them without like having to do border checks every time you cross into another country. So like you'll get your passport checked when you enter the Schengen Zone from the US. But then for the most part, when you're traveling like between countries, you don't usually like have to go through passport control or go through a border crossing. I've had my passport checked like once in like the last 6 months. So it's very easy to travel, and it's like it's not a big deal. Another thing I want to talk about is solo traveling. Obviously I came to Belgium by myself and I didn't know anybody, but once I started university, I like made friends and I knew people in my building and that sort of thing. I'd never like properly done a trip to another country by myself before this year. Now I can say I actually quite like solo traveling. It can be really scary at the beginning because you are going to a foreign country where you usually don't speak the language and you have to figure out like how to get around and what to do because, you know, you're by yourself. But I would say solo traveling is a lot of fun. You definitely learn a lot about yourself and you can still like meet people. Staying at hostels is probably my best tip for solo traveling because you get to meet other travelers. Sometimes it'll be people with their friends, but a lot of times there will be other solo travelers. Also, I would say don't look at solo traveling as like a last resort or like you're only going solo traveling because nobody wants to go with you. I feel like sometimes people see solo traveling as like kind of a negative, like, oh, I don't have any friends, so I'm going by myself. I would say don't see it like that. It's definitely not for lack of friends that I solo traveled. I did it sometimes because I just wanted to do something by myself. I think there's something really special about going somewhere on your own and learning how to navigate a foreign country and being like really proud of yourself because you did that. I think it's a huge accomplishment to go abroad in any sense, and solo traveling is just that extra little like you're capable of like whatever. I fully believe I can do anything because I've learned to navigate foreign countries' public transportation. I've done hard things by myself and I've gotten myself through it, if that makes sense. And then obviously there's academics. I would say school is probably most definitely going to be different. And it's good to know, like going into it, that you're not going to be doing the same things as you would back in the US. So for me, for example, I study international relations and a lot of our classes are very like paper-based. I don't really take exams. We do a lot of like discussing articles and then at the end of the semester we write a final paper and then maybe give a presentation on it. Here, most of my classes were exam-based. Something about a lot of European countries at least is your entire grade is based on one exam you take at the end of the semester. Whereas like at NAU, for example, most classes are a mix of like assignments and group projects and exams. So the exams are usually not worth more than like 10 or 15% of your grade. That was a lot for me. I was really scared of that because it's a lot of pressure for one exam. But I would say just like have an open mind about classes and that the classes exist and they continue to exist. So obviously like it's possible to pass. And you probably will have to study a bit differently and do different things. Obviously that was just my university. I have friends at other universities in other countries that are entirely project-based. So you never really know. You could probably look this stuff up about the university that you're planning to go to. I would say also, if you could, try to talk to somebody from like back home who has been there and they can talk to you about that. That was probably the most helpful for me, was talking to people who had been abroad. I didn't know anyone who went to my university specifically, but I knew people who were in similar situations in other countries. Obviously, when you're studying abroad, everything is going to be super new and different, and it's easy for that to get overwhelming. I would say my best tip for avoiding it getting super overwhelming is to have some sort of routines. They don't have to be big, but just something to keep yourself grounded and have some sort of like normalcy. So some examples I can think of this are if you enjoy running, then continuing to run in the new place you're in. For me, it was also just having routines that I could look forward to every week. So my friends and I would hang out on Thursday nights. Like I would see them other times, but we kind of knew that like Thursdays was unofficially like blocked out that we would do something on Thursdays. And it gave me something to look forward to every week and made it feel a little bit more like stable. But yeah, it can definitely get overwhelming, but having some sort of daily or weekly routines can make that easier. As you've probably figured out by now, I highly recommend study abroad. I think everyone should do it if they have the opportunity to. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. Also, feel free to click the link in our bio to book a one-on-one appointment and we can help you with study abroad stuff, with scholarship stuff, or anything else college and career related. See you next video.